Right, okay, I guess we are now in the most interesting part of this video. This is the new Canon RX100. And what I've got here is my favorite still camera, compact from Canon, which is the Canon S95. I do actually prefer the Canon S95 because it's got a CCD sensor. I mean, I don't want to start off with discussion about why not and why not the S100 and so on, but let's just leave it for now. Okay, so let's put our little Canon on, and the first thing that we notice is that the sides of the lens itself in the front. And now if we take a ruler and we measure this on the diagonal, we can see that this is around 2 centimeters. This is very important because obviously the back of our lens, our AD lens, which is 3 centimeters, whilst the camera is 2 centimeters, not millimeters. The closer this is to the actual port, less is the probability of vignetting, right? So if the camera had to be, the port had to be right there on the glass, there would never be an issue of vignetting, because simply the back of the lens is bigger than the lens of the camera itself. Now the issue is that the camera lens does not actually get into the port itself of the housing because of the zoom. So when it's at the maximum zoom, you see the camera is longer, and that's where the housing is going to be positioned. But then when we are at the widest setting, the camera is actually half a centimeter back. So what happens is that as this distance increases, right, the camera actually starts taking a picture of the border of the lens. Okay, so why have I got the S95 is because the S95, as you know, with the Recsea housing and the fisheye fix housing, is capable of mounting the whole series of AD lenses from Inon, provided that you zoom in at 35 millimeters. So now, is it going to be possible with the Sony? Now, the first thing that we notice is the Sony is conspicuously bigger lens in front. In fact, we can measure a diagonal of 2.3 millimeters, which is more than 10% larger than our Canon. So this is a challenge. However, and this is really where it gets interesting, I don't know exactly what Sony has done with we just put the Canon in intelligent mode. What Sony has done with the zoom, but there's a very interesting characteristic of the Sony zoom. So if you look at the camera when it's at full tele, right, and I'm showing it here, right, it's got a certain length, right. Now if we put it to the widest setting, actually the camera is at the same length, the camera port, which means we got some real optimism that we're really optimistic that this camera will actually work with the AD lenses, because the actual front of the port will sit close to the glass of the housing than even the S95, which is a 28mm camera, will do. So that should offset the larger size of the front lens, the Canon S95. Now what I've got here is a bespoke AD to M67 adapter, not on the market. We'll maybe talk sometime later on how you make one for yourself. If you look at the camera itself, you can see that the port sits really close to the glass itself. All right, so screw on our adapter. As I said, this is not on the market, and you know, far from perfect, to be honest with you. As you can see at this stage, the parts of the ID are not even aligned. That is not really a big concern, because on the lens that we're going to use, we can move the plastic. Of course, if we have a dome, we will need to make sure that this is aligned. Frankly, a bit of threaded tape is sufficient, and this is, you know, this is less than $20 equipment. Right, so we got here a Canon, an Inon AD, which is my favorite lens for video. It's only 140° approximately weight underwater, so it avoids the situation with all the new lenses that go for the Sony, like the Inon AD, you know, there are lenses that are over half a kilo weight, 320, 250 grams in water, no bayonet. The LD does have a bayonet mount. The thread of the M67, really not my favorite, because unscrewing and screwing a lens that is 350 grams underwater leads to problem. Right, so what we're going to position this on the port, wait until it clicks, so just make sure it clicks, position the rubber in such a way that the notch here is aligned with the port here, and let's switch it on so you can see by yourself. Right, the camera for some reason doesn't retain the zoom settings, and if you look, we can see on the screen that if we look into the corner, there's nearly no vignetting already at 35mm, and I can tell you that there is no vignetting whatsoever at 36mm with this lens on land. Now this is on land. This lens does vignette even with the original 35mm camera. I can tell you because I had a previous Canon and it did vignette. So 36, you see, there's no vignette. All right, and we're back. Okay, so here we are. That's my favorite fisheye lens, which I use with the Canon S95. I'm not planning to use this lens with the Sony. That's simply because I'm going to use the Sony only for video. So let's just have a look. Again, the problem that the threads are not aligned is an issue. So you can see that it is misaligned. See, but for the purpose of our exercise, it's not that important because, you know, this adapter is actually really cheap. I'm gonna put the camera in intelligent mode just so that it's easy to use the zoom, and we can see that with the zoom in this position, the camera does vignette quite a bit, as we would expect. However, I don't like the barrel effect at all, and you can see that in movie mode the camera actually does focus. It's quite interesting. In movie mode there is absolutely no vignetting with the steady shot. In active mode, the active mode does introduce a bit of crop. The standard doesn't do it. We can see that if we put it in standard mode, there is a minor vignette which can be eliminated by zooming around, again 34.